I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow.
Without wasting time, we start with Star Wars Outlaws, developed by Massive Entertainment, a Swedish studio subsidized by Ubisoft. In the game, players will live the story of Kay Vess and her mini companion Nyx, who must pull off one of the biggest heists the galaxy has ever seen. The game will be the first in the history of the Star Wars franchise to venture into a vast open world full of activities to do. The game is set in a time when the Galactic Empire continues to relentlessly pursue the Rebel Alliance after Order 66, while the criminal underworld and smugglers, of course, continue to thrive in the shadows. Kay and Nyx will take on high-risk missions to earn good rewards from the galaxy's crime syndicates, all while seeking ways to start a new life away from worldly dangers. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Chernobyl is a first-person shooter, action, and horror game set in Chernobyl, developed by the Ukrainian studio GC Game World. Its plot is non-linear, meaning it is not a direct continuation of Shadows of Chernobyl, and it features a branching narrative with multiple possible endings. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which changed drastically after being hit by a second explosion in 2006. The game features violent mutants, deadly anomalies, and warring factions that have turned the area into a challenging survival scenario. Additionally, there are valuable artifacts that attract stalkers, brave individuals who traverse the zone in search of resources, wealth, and secrets.
Зона така, якою бачиш її ти.
Sony has confirmed the rumors and will release God of War Ragnarok for PC. According to the company, the adaptation will bring various typical platform features, such as better performance and support for ultra-wide monitors. God of War Ragnarok is one of Sony's most important games produced by Santa Monica Studio, bringing the newest adventure of Kratos, the God of War, and his son, Atreus, trying to prevent the end of the Nine Realms, which is related to gods and entities from Norse mythology. After the events of the first game, released in 2018, we find Kratos and Atreus a few years later, dealing with the consequences of the prophecy they discovered, which is related to Ragnarok, the end of the Nine Realms in Norse mythology, caused by a war between the gods. The remake of Silent Hill 2 is undoubtedly awaited by fans of the work for a long time. Fortunately, or not, Konami heard the fans' prayers and decided to embark on this endeavor with Bloober Team, the studio behind the medium, which will breathe new life into James Sunderland's sad journey on the PS5 and PC. The Silent Hill 2 remake is being developed based on Unreal Engine 5 and will feature two new features, Lumen and Nanite, which can take graphics to new levels, highly detailed and realistic, while enhancing the game's atmosphere of nervousness. Additionally, the game will leverage all the next-gen features, so expect 3D audio, with the WWI's sound engine, DualSense support, and of course, extremely fast load times due to the SSD. Metaphor ReFantazio promises a game filled with magical elements, including moments where you will need to participate in the hunt for giant monsters. During the adventure, players can recruit various allies with unique powers, which should be used in complement to the protagonist. With combat that mixes real-time action elements with a turn-based system, the new game promises to be the culmination of everything Atlus has done throughout its history. Within the world of Metaphor ReFantazio, players will be able to explore very vast environments where they will encounter many secrets and adversaries. Using the archetype system, it will be possible to unlock new abilities by fighting what the company calls the character's anxieties.
Observe the enemy. Let justice prevail! Healing us!
My friends, you don't have to trust me, Marshal, but it might be better.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is an action-packed espionage thriller set in the early 1990s, a period of global political transition and strong revolt characterized by the end of the Cold War and the rise of the United States as a superpower. Against this backdrop, the next Black Ops promises a truly engaging narrative, free from conflict rules and impactful. Longtime fans will quickly realize that the campaign directly connects with the 1980s flashbacks revealed during Black Ops 2, one of the best games in the franchise, released in 2012. A key part of the franchise, the multiplayer has seen innovations, from movement to weapon firing, including footprints, progression systems, takedowns, and much more. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, players will travel to the east and control a samurai and a shinobi who have allied to fight side by side for a mysterious reason. The new game leaves the PS4 and Xbox One in the shadows. Only players on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC will be able to enjoy the new title. The story of this new franchise release based on Japanese culture will bring two protagonists, the samurai Yasuke and the kunoichi Naoe. Naoe had her village destroyed when she was younger and plans to seek revenge on behalf of her people. Trained in the province of Iga, she will bring ninja stealth elements to the gameplay. On the other hand, Yasuke, an emblematic and historical figure during the reign of Oda Nobunaga, is a loyal samurai seeking to confront the ghosts of his past. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2 is the sequel to the popular game that brings the experience of living in the midst of the Middle Ages. Created once again by Warhorse Studios, the new game will have players participate in a civil war in the midst of 15th century Bohemia. While the new title will continue Henry's story, it also promises to be a good entry point for those unfamiliar with the franchise. The game will have a map twice the size of its predecessor. With some freedom, the protagonist can visit locations ranging from the known place called Bohemian Paradise, which actually exists in the Czech Republic, to the majestic and imposing Trotsky Castle, among other locations. Despite maintaining many of the elements that made the first game famous, Warhorse Studios promises various enhancements in critical areas. The studio states that it has revamped the combat system of the series, ensuring that it is both faithful to medieval martial arts and fun to use. One of the main games from Xbox Game Studios in 2024, Avowed promises to maintain Obsidian's tradition of offering vast worlds full of choices. Although Avowed has many connections with Pillars of Eternity and the sequel Deadfire, it is not necessary to have played them to understand the story or the universe of the adventure. It is set in a different scenario from the world that has not been visited in previous games, although it has been mentioned briefly. Avowed aims to differentiate itself from other first-person combat RPGs through the depth of its systems. The build chosen by each player will determine how they respond to encounters and the visual cues each enemy may show. In addition to bringing deep combat, Avowed also promises to maintain Obsidian's tradition of offering deep, choice-based stories.
Or destroy us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be the next game in the franchise. Developed by Machine Games and Lucasfilm Games and published by Bethesda Softworks, the game features an original story never explored in the movies starring Harrison Ford and will be part of the timeline shown in cinemas. The new Xbox Series and PC exclusive promises to take Indy on an adventure full of mysteries spread across various locations around the world, such as the Vatican, the Himalayas, and the deserts of Egypt, in a first-person action gameplay with exploration, puzzles, and more. The plot of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle unfolds between the films Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Not surprisingly, the events of the game seem to revolve around World War II and the rise of fascism in Europe. As indicated by the gameplay trailer, Indiana Jones will be guided on an important journey towards Rome and the Vatican. As a bonus, I bring you Frostpunk 2, a game that combines survival and city building developed and published by the Polish studio 11-Bit Studios, responsible for This War of Mine. Set in a permanent volcanic winter, the game maintains and expands on the predecessor's base, involving supply collection, technological development, and a decision-based narrative. However, it focuses more on themes like ambition and political conflicts. Frostpunk 2 is set in the 19th century, 30 years after the eruptions of Krakatoa and Mount Tambora, which led to the darkening of the sun and the consequent devastation of the Earth in the first game. In this inhospitable and frozen scenario, you take on the role of the leader of the metropolis of New London, built around a steam generator and hungry for resources. Like in the first Frostpunk, players need to build structures that provide protection against the intense cold while investing in technology, food production, and other actions to keep the central generator running smoothly.